Breaking tonight, new questions about the shooting at the White House Correspondents Dinner, and our first look at writings from the suspected attacker calling himself the friendly federal assassin. The frightening moments inside a Washington ballroom. The dinner to celebrate the free press turning violent. An attacker rushing past security, charging toward the ballroom, firing at agents, then tackled.
It was a chaotic and somewhat frightening situation in here.
The president and vice president rushed out.
I heard a noise. I thought it was a tray going down.
Cabinet members, lawmakers, journalists taking cover. And now, the FBI descending on the suspect's neighborhood in California.
We're still investigating motive.
What we're learning about the man's writings and what his family describes as bizarre behavior. The collection of weapons investigators say he had, and his cross-country trip ending at the Washington Hilton with a terrifying security scare in the nation's capital. Our coverage begins right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Hallie Jackson.
Good evening. We are coming on the air tonight with that fast-moving investigation into the shooting at the White House Correspondents Dinner. New video out today. You see it here, showing the moment the suspect was taken down. Not long after this, his sprint past security with multiple weapons, according to investigators. Inside the ballroom, Secret Service rushing the president away, guests ducking under tables, while Trump administration officials were escorted out. Now, new pictures released late today show them huddling with the president in the Oval Office in the aftermath of the shooting. Tonight, some of the suspects' writings, just obtained by NBC News, suggest a loathing for both President Trump and his administration as investigators question neighbors about the suspected attacker ahead of an arraignment tomorrow. Our team is covering every angle tonight. We begin with Garrett Hake, who was inside that ballroom when all of this unfolded.
Tonight, dramatic new video captures the moment Secret Service officers wrestled the alleged White House Correspondents' Dinner gunman to the ground. 31-year-old Cole Thomas Allen tackled and arrested after authorities say he charged through a security checkpoint, armed with a shotgun, a pistol, and multiple knives. And according to what a senior administration official says are Cole's own writings, with a desire to kill the president and other administration officials. A federal investigation in full swing tonight, from the Washington Hilton crime scene to the suspect's home in California.
We don't believe anybody else was involved, but again, we have a lot of work left to do and a lot of evidence left to go through and to collect.
The annual Washington Gala, with President Trump, the First Lady, and Vice President Vance all attending for the first time in office, seated on a dais in a massive basement ballroom, just getting underway when, at 8:35, loud bangs could be heard in the ballroom. Secret Service agents suddenly swarmed the stage. The vice president pulled to his feet and out of sight. The president and first lady enveloped by agents and hustled to safety. The president tonight on 60 Minutes.
Then I started walking with them. I started walking, and they said, please go down on the floor. So I went down, and First Lady went down also.
Across the ballroom, mass confusion as attendees ducked under tables and more law enforcement officers rushed in. Top officials, including the Health and Defense Secretaries and House Speaker Mike Johnson, all pulled from the room by their protective details. All of it captured on phone cameras as a ballroom packed with reporters began covering the story developing around them.
It's still unclear what happened. There are reports that there may be somebody down outside.
I think at this point, it's clear that the president has been evacuated from the ballroom, but not necessarily from the property at large.
From a secure location inside the hotel, the president posting at 9:17, quote, quite an evening in D.C., then at 9:36 that he and his cabinet were unharmed, and at the request of law enforcement headed back to the White House for a news conference. Top White House aides sharing these behind-the-scene photos from the Oval Office, moments before the president took the podium.
Well, thank you very much. Take a look at what happened.
President Trump, the target of 2 previous assassination attempts as a candidate, addressing the gravity of the moment.
We had some great work done by law enforcement, but in light of this evening's events, I ask that all Americans recommit with their hearts in resolving our difference peacefully. We have to resolve our differences.
The president also sharing this surveillance video of the moment the attacker charged through security, a floor above the ballroom, and was apprehended.
I heard a noise. I thought it was a tray going down. I was watching to see what was happening. Probably should have gone down even faster.
The presence of so many top government officials under one roof drawing scrutiny today.
I think the Secret Service needs to reconsider having both the president and vice president together, like something like that, you know. Chuck Grassley would be the president had they all been taken out.
Garrett is joining us now from the White House. So, Garrett, you've got the president praising the officer who was hurt last night, who was apparently saved by his bulletproof vest, right?
That's right, Hallie. D.C.'s police chief says this was a uniformed Secret Service officer who had the good fortune to take this bullet directly into his protective vest. The president thanked the officer last night, described him as being in great shape and high spirits. Hallie.
Garrett Hake outside the West Wing, thank you. The suspected attacker's writings could give federal investigators more clues about his motive as they searched a home connected to him today. Our Steve Patterson is there.
Just 10 minutes before Saturday night's attack, suspected shooter 31-year-old Cole Allen sent a series of sprawling thoughts to family members, a senior White House official told NBC News, detailing his plan, describing himself as a friendly federal assassin. Tonight, federal officials shifting their gaze some 2,500 miles away from the halls of the Washington Hilton to this last known address, this quiet neighborhood in Torrance, California, just south of Los Angeles, where FBI teams in tactical gear descended on the home overnight, executing a search warrant. Today, agents going door to door.
Everybody says it don't happen in your neighborhood, but it happens in everybody's neighborhood. It's going to happen no matter where you're at.
Officials say Allen traveled by train from L.A. to Chicago, then to D.C. before checking into the hotel on the 24th.
We're still investigating motive, and that's something that will necessarily take a couple of days at least.
In a transcript of the suspect's writings, Allen described his targets as administration officials, his family saying they alerted police upon seeing the writings, telling authorities he had a tendency to make radical statements and constantly referred to a plan to do something. Authorities say his weapons, including a 12-gauge shotgun and .38 pistol, were legally purchased well before the shooting. In an interview with law enforcement, his sister said he regularly trained at a shooting range, according to a senior administration official.
His family said he had big difficulty. Maybe they should have reported him a little bit more strongly, probably. But it's a hard thing to do, I guess.
According to Allen's LinkedIn profile, he was a part-time teacher at a tutoring and test prep company where he was named Teacher of the Month in December 2024. According to social media, he graduated from the California Institute of Technology in 2017, earning a mechanical engineering degree.
The idea with this is to prevent it from moving at all.
The year he graduated, he appears on a local news segment during a tech conference demonstrating a prototype wheelchair brake.
The wheelchair brakes tend to lock the wheels, but don't actually lock the chair to the ground.
The question authorities say they are now working to uncover how this promising academic may have wound up a would-be assassin.
Steve's joining us now from that neighborhood in Torrance. And, Steve, we understand that this suspect has not been cooperating with police while in custody.
Yeah, Hallie, first of all, police say Allen was not shot but was taken to a local hospital. He's expected to be arraigned on 2 preliminary charges: use of a firearm during a crime of violence and assault on a federal officer. And you said it, at least so far, authorities say he has not been cooperative with this investigation. Hallie.
Steve Patterson, thank you. Let's bring in Tom Winter now. And Tom, the suspect himself wrote that he was surprised there wasn't more security at this hotel, and the president raised questions about the building itself. What are you hearing from your sources about this footprint here?
Yeah, Hallie, well, right now the security plan could be deemed a success. Nobody's seriously injured. Suspect in custody, but was it too close for comfort? Hotels present unique security challenges. Think back to the 2017 Las Vegas mass shooting and how a hotel guest, Stephen Paddock, was able to set up an arsenal from his room. Should hotel guests have had their bags searched? Should there have been an additional perimeter further away from the ballroom last night? And there will likely be a discussion about having so many top members of the administration in one room in the middle of a war, Hallie.
So, Tom, what does this mean then for security plans for this big arrival tomorrow here in Washington with King Charles coming to visit?
Well, British authorities have been looking at a host of recent attacks and threats in the UK and just last night in Northern Ireland. So British and U.S. law enforcement will have to take a fresh look at the plans this week. And it all comes as U.S. authorities face a series of major security challenges this summer, from the FIFA World Cup to the America 250 celebrations, all in the midst of deep political strife here at home and complex terrorism threats stemming from the Middle East. Hallie.
Tom Winter, thank you very much. Monica Alba is joining us now from the White House. And Monica, we're seeing a push today from the president's team to try to make the case that what happened last night shows why they need to build that controversial ballroom at the White House, even though, of course, the press dinner is considered a private event and not a government function.
Exactly, Hallie. President Trump very quickly pivoted to why he says his $400 million ballroom project is critical, insisting that the attempted attack would never have happened in his proposed space, which is currently tied up in court. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche today posting a letter to the group suing the Trump administration to halt the construction, with the DOJ calling the Washington Hilton demonstrably unsafe and arguing that the new ballroom would be essential for the safety and security of the president, his family, and his cabinet, while urging the National Trust for Historic Preservation to abandon its lawsuit entirely. And this as members of both parties are now pushing for the ballroom to be built, with some GOP lawmakers even calling for legislation that could accelerate that process. Hallie?
Monica Alba at the White House, thank you. For the president and for the country, the shooting has intensified the spotlight on the rise of targeted political violence in America. Our Kelly O'Donnell reports.
In that tightly packed ballroom, chaos and confusion was quickly all too familiar. Threats of political violence are stress testing security and society. From Butler, Pennsylvania in 2024 to this black tie dinner evacuation. The president asked about the heightened risk environment.
Is that just the cost of doing business to do politics in America anymore?
Yeah, well,
what does that say about our country?
Too. We're not the only country. You look at this great violence with all countries.
Targeted political violence is up dramatically, more than 30% from 2024 through last year, according to university researchers, including arson at the Pennsylvania governor's home, an attack on Minnesota legislators, the Charlie Kirk assassination. Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, affected again as a dinner guest. As security details swarmed dignitaries, photographer Andrew Harnick, who was seated at the head table, picked up his camera.
And by the time I was able to press record, the vice president was being yanked off the stage, as you see in the dramatic video that I was able to capture. What we contribute to the press corps is capturing what happens in the moment, and obviously that happened very quickly last night.
Kelly is with us now here in Washington. And Kelly, the president says he wants this event, this dinner, rescheduled. What would that even look like?
Well, the president's idea is to try and get this done within 30 days. He described not wanting to allow offenders to derail a high-profile event like this, honoring the First Amendment. But it is unclear what comes next. There are costs, logistics, and a variety of considerations at issue. And the dinner is run by the nonprofit White House Correspondents Association, and its board will need to figure out its own next steps. The president may encourage a quick do-over, but we do not know when, if, or how that would even happen.
A lot of questions still there. Kelly O'Donnell, thank you very much. We're going to have more on that story here in Washington as it develops. But we are also tracking tonight the intense and dangerous weather emergency affecting millions of people across the country, including in Texas, reeling after deadly storms today. Ryan Chandler is covering it all.
Dangerous storms tearing across North Texas overnight, bringing intense lightning, heavy rain flooding roads, and tornadoes. Northwest of Fort Worth, the city of Runaway Bay, battered.
That's not even where that's supposed to be.
Video from the sky this morning showing the scope of the damage. Homes shredded, some flattened, roofs ripped clean off. County leaders say one person there died and 40 families are displaced. Just half an hour away in Springtown, eerie video of a glowing light. Holy after officials say lightning hit a gas storage tank. A tornado there, also turning deadly.
Nope, not going that way.
Trees down, completely blocking roads. Before these strong storms hit Springtown last night, a mobile home stood right here. Now it's a pile of rubble 50 feet away, and officials tell us a woman lost her life inside. Meanwhile, extreme drought in the south fueling devastating wildfires. Schools already closed in Georgia's Brantley County after hundreds of people either lost homes or had to evacuate. And winds ripping through Stagecoach Music Festival in California.
We are evacuating the festival site due to severe weather,
Forcing tens of thousands of festival goers to flee at one point Saturday. Back in Texas tonight, this part of the state is still in the risk zone for more severe weather on the way.
Ryan's joining us now from Springtown, Texas. And Ryan, people cleaning up there, like the folks whose place you're standing in front of, they may not have a ton of time to get ready for the next round of storms.
No, you're right, Hallie. And you see the debris surrounding me. It will certainly be a long road to recovery for so many here. And that comes as the risk extends through tonight. Some 19 million people from here in Texas all the way to Iowa at risk for damaging winds, possible tornadoes and hail. And the risk extends into the Midwest for millions more come tomorrow. Hallie.
Ryan Chandler, thank you. Still ahead for us tonight, the fading hope for a U.S. peace deal with Iran, with talks suddenly called off. New concerns tonight about the fate of U.S. peace talks with Iran after President Trump called off the American delegation's trip to Pakistan this weekend. Keir Simmons is there.
Tonight, Iran trying not to appear isolated. Its foreign minister here in Pakistan for the second time in as many days, after meeting the Emir of Oman and phone calls with France, Saudi Arabia and Qatar. But there'll be no face-to-face with the US for now. This week's high security in Islamabad dismantled today. Iranian officials had said no direct US negotiations were planned, but President Trump says he called off a meeting.
We're not going to spend 15 hours in airplanes all the time going back and forth to be giving a document that was not good enough. And so we'll deal by telephone, and they can call us anytime they want.
At meetings this weekend, Iranian state media says the foreign minister argued the US military should leave the Middle East, while President Trump insisting after last night's security incident.
It's not going to deter me from winning the war in Iran.
For now, that means a stalemate in the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM saying tonight it intercepted an oil tanker serving Iran and sanctioned by the US. While from Iran tonight, new images of two cargo ships it seized last week. Meanwhile, renewed strikes between Israel and Iranian proxy Hezbollah in Lebanon, despite a 3-week ceasefire. This is a fragile peace with no diplomatic resolution in sight. Tonight, Iran's foreign minister has left Islamabad for Moscow, where he will meet with President Putin. The Russian Foreign Ministry telling state media the purpose is negotiations. Hallie?
Keir Simmons in Islamabad, thank you. We are back in a moment with the wild ride for a police officer here after he falls into the car of a suspect who then takes off. We are learning more tonight about a deadly shooting inside a Chicago hospital that left one police officer dead and another in critical condition. Police say it happened while the officers were bringing the suspect to the hospital to be checked out after he was arrested on something separate. The officer who was killed was 38 years old, a 10-year veteran of the department. And some dramatic moments out in California where surveillance video, look here, shows this police officer responding to a reported robbery. So there he is. He reaches into the car, but that's when the driver takes off. The officer falls inside. Body cam video shows the two fighting for control of the car. You see it here as it's going racing down the road. Listen to this.
Stop the car! Stop the car, I will shoot you!
The suspected thief was later arrested, and that officer managed to walk away from this whole thing unhurt. And finally, a record shattered at the London Marathon today. Sebastian Sawe from Kenya finishing the race in 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 30 seconds, now becoming the first person to ever run an official marathon in under 2 hours. A huge deal and a big congratulations to him. When we come back, there is good news tonight about a new attitude in this new spring season, giving everyone something to look forward to. And finally, there is good news tonight about the start of spring and the new possibilities in bloom for all of us. With spring now in full swing across the country, it finally feels like it.
Seeing the people out and the beautiful weather, it can't be beat.
A nation waking up to bask in the sunshine and celebrate the buds of new beginnings.
For me, it's always been like a rebirth when everything is in bloom.
Waking up in the morning and seeing the sun outside my window.
Really looking forward just to the nicer weather. Everyone seems so much happier.
Looking to brighter days ahead.
Something good that happened to me is Winston welcoming to the world.
And with a new chapter, excitement for a new generation.
The most beautiful in my life was him.
I'm always excited about my grandkids.
Just getting to spend time with him every day.
Plus, wishes for more memories with the people we love most.
What makes me happy is hugging my mom.
Everything comes down to community.
A time for finding ourselves.
Figuring out what I want to be when I grow up. There's so much yet that I still would like to try and do.
Discovering myself makes me happy too. Getting to know who I am.
A little romance too.
Ah, right there. My wife, when she's smiling.
My son got engaged to a beautiful lady.
Spending time with my better half. Every day that I spend with my girlfriend, I get to know her better and better.
A reminder to take nothing for granted and to stop and smell the roses. Good news for all of us. That's Nightly News for this Sunday. Stay with us for the NBA on NBC and a doubleheader tonight, starting with the Celtics against the Sixers. I'm Hallie Jackson. For all of us here at NBC News, thanks for watching and have a great week.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.